Welcome to Mixtapes and Mopeds with Red Wheels Panda, the fastest growing podcast on the internet. Thank you for all those loyal followers out there in the big city of Lancaster, Ohio, and everybody else around. Wheels here, we're coming to you from the fun city of Sun City Center of Florida, home of 30,952 retirees. You know, if you really want to pretend like you went back to kindergarten and you're feeling like the youngest kid on the block, this is the place to come. I got to share a little funny story. So I got here and my parents were here and I had to take a tour of the facilities. And so they have this center for playing cards and little computer rooms. And every time you open up a door and you open it, and there's like this whole big classroom of people that like stare right at you, and you go, you open up the door. So I take my dad, we walk into the swimming pool, and there's about 20 ladies doing some sort of exercises in the swimming pool. And I don't know if you ever see those movies where the ladies turn around and they're going, "Hey, big fella." You would have thought I was in the movie of what's the Mike movie?
Oh my God!
So I said, "Hey, Dad, we gotta go." So what say you, Panda? What's going on?
So I didn't realize that's where your parents moved. The Sun City. I don't know if they're everywhere, but there's you and I were talking earlier. There's one right there outside of Hilton Head that I've been going by for years and years. I didn't realize it was the same kind of. Looks really cool.
Same original designers, owners. I'm pretty sure. Yep.
Yeah.
That one's a newer version. They're still building houses in that one.
Yeah. Well, looks pretty cool. So I'm sure your parents are going to love it down there. As for the Young family, we are taking off in the morning. Actually, Casey's driving down from Cincinnati to Gatlinburg, and my brother, his family, and my parents are all driving down from Lancaster area to Gatlinburg, and we're driving up there, and we're got a cabin up in the mountains there. It's a massive cabin with all kinds of fun stuff. So we're gonna be there through Sunday. So it's the first time we've gotten together kind of in a place like that as a family in quite a while. So we're really looking forward to it. That should be a blast. The weather looks like it's gonna be a little chilly, but that's not gonna snow us in or anything. So I think we'll be fine. And yeah, that's where my parents got married. There
in Gatlinburg.
Pigeon Forge,
kidding.
Just down the road from Gatlinburg. Right. So
at Ripley.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Believe it or not. I do. I know Gatlinburg's had some fires over the years and whatnot, so it'd be interesting to see how that's hanging up. But Pigeon Forge is like the kind of it's like going to down to Panama City, where all this stuff that you can do. It's got go-karts and just literally everything. So I'm sure we'll do some of that fun stuff. So yeah, we're looking forward to.
Well, hopefully the go-karts are out there running around in the cold weather. There's nothing more fun than running around and chasing each other in those things.
Yeah, that's a little chilly.
Oh boy, there's some stories there I just thought about there. Well, we have some guests on tonight's podcast. Well, welcome Chloe from the great state of Georgia for today. But she'll be back in South Carolina, and the one, the only, Casey Young up in Ohio. Welcome to the podcast.
Happy to be here.
Tell us a little bit what's going on right now, Chloe.
Well, not finishing up, midway through the Masters, ahead of finals week. So been very busy with that, finishing up my last year at South Carolina. Excited to start a job in July.
Yeah, Casey, tell her how fun that job stuff is, huh?
Yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah, right. Leaving college, getting a job. That's exactly what we all.
The money aspect. It's about having a salary.
Yeah, sure. It's good to have money coming in and not going out all the time.
Yeah.
So Casey, what's going on with you there in Ohio?
Honestly, I would say the exact opposite of Chloe. Ready to stop working for a few days. Just ready to see some family. I've been up here for over a year now, which is crazy to think about. So kind of just gotta take take my time with the fam when I get it, because it's very, few and far between. But it should be fun to get everyone together and have a few days of some stories and some jokes, I would assume.
Awesome.
Case, how are you enjoying that your place now? Because I think I've mentioned in previous podcasts, Casey is like 3 doors down from the bars I used to go to when I lived in Cincinnati and Mount Adams.
It's super weird because, Dad basically told me forever, you got to go look at this place in Mount Adams. This area is awesome. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then, you move up here and you kind of start looking at different spots, and just kind of out of the blue, a place popped up. It was never really on my radar. And then, it ended up being 3 doors down from my dad's one of, his favorite spots. So now
what's that spot called again? I love that place too. What's it called?
There's Mount Adams Bar and Grill, but Blind Melon.
Blind Melon, that's it. Blind Melon. That's been around there forever.
Was it Blind Lemon or Blind
Lemon?
Blind Lemon. See, Blind Melon is the band. Blind Lemon is the bar.
Yeah, same thing. Close enough.
All right, we have some questions for our guests when we start off. And because this is Mixtapes and Mopeds, and this is going to Casey first, what song would you always put on your, what we call a mixtape back in the days of a cassette? What song would be on every playlist?
I think it kind of depends on the day, but as of lately, I've been very much into the 2000s and 90s rock. So I would say Like a Stone by Audioslave has been on repeat. Audioslave and Soundgarden. Chris Cornell in general has been kind of on the docket recently. So Like a Stone was the first song I think of his I ever learned. So it's one of those I can always put on there and sing along to.
That sure sounds like a little dad influence.
It was always on one of his playlists, but then, you pretend like it wasn't, and then you kind of rediscover, and it's like, actually, it's pretty good.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
That's good. Chloe, what say you?
I'll go more of like a country route. If we're doing like a country playlist, Comeback Song by Darius Rucker.
Oh,
that one's a pretty
call.
good one. Yeah. Just kind of meshes with any country playlist and makes you think of home.
Yeah. I like that. Panda, go ahead with number 2.
All right, Chloe, have you ever driven a moped?
I have never driven a moped, never really been around a moped. I'm going to be honest.
How about like the EV bikes?
Yes, we took those down in Miami. We drove we rode around in Miami in those without Stone and Mom, so we just like flew on the trail, the walking trail. Only hit like 3 people.
That's a moped. That's a modern day moped. We'll close enough. A moped. Yeah, close enough. Casey, how about you?
No, I think the only time I can even like picture a moped was like Panama City when we would go and play baseball tournaments there. But we have like those Lime scooters. That's probably as close as I would get to one. We have those everywhere up here, and they're awesome. But I've always kind of wanted to ride a moped. They're just, I don't think of the last time I've even seen one.
Yeah.
Those Lime scooters are awesome, though.
They're so cool.
Man, I love that.
I would say I've done
downtown Atlanta.
Yeah. The scooters in Brussels, the pavement in Brussels is like this, and we took the Lime scooters.
You've ridden those in Brussels? Holy crap!
Me and Andrew wanted to get back faster. Not our brightest idea.
Let's take your life in your hands, especially with all the traffic that's on the roads in Brussels. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Casey, this comes to you. This is a tough one. If you could play with any band in history, it sounds like you got a band picked out. But also, what instrument would you be playing for in that band if you took over?
I was between 2 for kind of different reasons, but I would say either Queen or Motley Crue.
What?
Motley Crue for a good time, Queen for the music, depending on what you're looking for. I would probably just play guitar. Dad, I don't know if you remember, I always wanted to get guitar lessons, and I asked for years and never got them. So maybe they could teach me.
Oh, good call. What's your Motley Crue song?
I don't know. I probably
It's not Shout at the Devil.
Shout at the Devil's good, but what's the slower song? Like
there's Smoking in the Boys' Room is a slower song.
I think it's the one about coming home. Something.
I know which one you.
Yeah.
Home's in the name. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But it's very good.
Yeah. I think that's what it's called. I'm coming home.
It might just be. Yeah, it might just be.
All right, Chloe, what say you? What band and what's the instrument you'll be playing in that band?
I really did not have a good answer for this because I don't know too many bands and I'm not musically talented in the slightest. So my answer was like 21 Pilots, but only like the early days when they had a ukulele because I can semi-play a ukulele.
Yeah, good call.
So
Nice.
I'll use my 4th grade ukulele knowledge and play
don't
one
fret.
or two songs.
Your dad's answer was playing a flute to the.
I was trying to find a band that had a recorder.
Well, I would say there's not a lot of musical talent on this podcast show today, so you're in good company.
Lots of listeners.
Yeah.
I'm just like Casey. I asked for those guitar lessons for years too. I have the guitar.
You had the lessons. No, we got you the $50 gift certificate, not one scheduled. No, we got you the 50. We bought a $50 gift card, and I went in there and go, "This is the fastest $50 that's gonna sit on the shelf." That card is still sitting in that box by the back door, and that has to be like 15 years old. I think they're out of business.
Yeah, they are out of business. The one in the Walmart.
No, not that one. No, I wasn't that cheap. Come on.
All right, close out this section. Chloe, what was your favorite cereal growing up?
Okay, mini wheats chocolate, but like the mini wheats. They were just like specific. I ate them for years and they stopped selling them. So I went to go back and.
So I love mini wheats, but they had a chocolate version.
They had like Little Bites chocolate.
Ooh.
Amazing.
Ooh. Sounds amazing.
I had no idea that was even a thing.
All right, Case, what about you?
Mine's a little more boring. I'm just the classic Life cereal, cinnamon specific.
Oh.
Has to be the cinnamon, because then the milk at the bottom becomes cinnamon milk. Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, Dad, not to get you all hungry.
Goat.
The goat.
There. Yeah.
That is good stuff. Yeah, I gotta say that is really good stuff. All right, so moving on to the next topic. So this weekend, as we have seen in college football, we saw at one of the games this weekend an Auburn team beat a Texas A&M team, and we saw the students of Auburn, a 4-5 team, go rushing against an 8-2 team. You know, as being from Ohio State fans and maybe Alabama fans and Georgia fans kind of have the same thing. You know, we are the teams that get rushed against. And so you go look at it and go, well, you know, I don't know about that. I don't know if I've ever been around that experience. But so this is going out to Casey and Chloe. First off, we'll go with Chloe because there's an experience there. So what do you think about rushing the field? You know, the say from the folks are the players might be in danger, the students might be in danger. But what do you think about rushing the field?
I think it's so fun. Well, at least from a student perspective, we did it against Tennessee 2 years ago. We've rushed Clemson's field. Like the USC students have rushed Clemson's own field. And then we rushed against Texas A&M this year. And just like, we're not trying to harm the players. So as long as you have like a good student body, I think there's no problem with it. You're not hurting the players. For us, at least, we have a hurdle. We have to get around our hedges. So the players are usually off the field by the time people are able to get over our bushes. So I don't see a problem with it as long as you like try and push them off for like half a second. But again, I don't see many players injured by it. And I think it's, as a student, it is amazing. Like a amazing experience. And we get to keep part of the bushes. So
Casey, were you rushing the field much at Gardner Webb when you were there?
We actually won a Big South title while I was there. I never went to one game in 3 years, not once. So
not one.
Exactly. No, we usually were playing or practicing or something on every game day.
Oh, yeah.
So it just kind of never worked out. But I don't understand the people that like hate rushing the field. The only thing that bothers me is when they rush the field with like 40 seconds left, and then they got to like get everyone off the field and then do it again.
So yeah, so that's what I was going to bring up. I don't know if you were watching, and I was in a bar and I couldn't even hear the audio, but I was watching on one of the screens, sports bar, and it was the BYU Arizona State game, and so Arizona State is upsetting BYU, and there's a last play. The quarterback's trying to wind down the clock, 8 seconds left, and he throws a long pass on fourth down, and the ball hits the ground with 1 second left. The crowd at Arizona State storms the field like the goalposts are down. The whole field is, and the officials like, there's 1 second left. And BYU, because it was fourth down, gets the ball in midfield and has a chance to throw a Hail Mary. So literally, you got to sit there, and it's like 25 minutes to get the goalpost back up, and the kids off.
They did put the goalpost back up. That was what my question was. Would they just push them out of the way, and then go, all right, what happens if we have to kick it?
So the goalpost, if you can imagine, the goalposts kind of were folding into the field, and they somehow just pushed them back up. And they ran their one play, which of course, didn't happen.
I figured to have two referees standing out in the middle of the field like this.
Right.
Go!
So the Hail Mary didn't work, and then they rushed the field again. But that's annoying. So I'm down with rushing the field, but at least come on, have some common sense. Don't rush the field until the game is actually over.
Right. And I think wasn't it the Oklahoma-Bama game? It was like 30 seconds left.
Oh,
and they
yeah.
rushed the field. Like, I get the 1 second, it's kind of close, but there's 30 whole seconds on like the scoreboard, and you're just going like, I don't know.
Same happened with Ole Miss UGA a couple weeks ago. Ole Miss had like 24 seconds left. I'm like, really? You guys kind of looked at the clock?
They can't hold them back. They're just ready to go. Yeah.
I've never been a part of like an Ohio State rush field because, to Steve, to your point, like Ohio State is the team that gets rushed against, not typically the one rushing field. Although Ohio State has rushed many times, Michigan. One time, the students took the goalpost down, took it out of the stadium and down High Street and into the Papa Joe's bar. That was the most famous event. I was not there for that, but I went to Clemson, South Carolina. You'll love this. It's Clemson, South Carolina, always last game of the year, and I had a bunch of Clemson friends and roommate in Atlanta, and so I went up. Hey, I'll go to that game, and I think South Carolina was actually favored that year, and Clemson won on a last-second field goal, and so they rushed the field. So I'm like, I'm going on the field, so I rushed the field, and then you walk out of that Clemson stadium, you go up the hill, and you get to touch the rock. So I got to touch the rock on the way out. But that was my only rush the field experience, and I really wasn't all that into it. But I did it anyway.
Well, kind of going along with that, moving on to the next thing is, I was going to talk a little bit about a bucket list. I'm around a lot of aging folks around here, and I'm always looking at things, you get to this certain point in life, and when you get there, what are the things you really wanted to do? So we got to ask the young ones here on there, a few things. I know I have my bucket list that every year I update, and it's been a couple years that I haven't updated kind of few. I got a retirement coming up. That's the big one to check off the list coming up. That's when we start doing a lot of bucket list items. But Casey, we'll start off with you. What are a couple of your bucket list items you'd really love to do?
I think these all there's a couple, but they all kind of mesh together. So now with my dad always being in Hilton Head, now I'm up in Cincinnati, and just like all this travel between our family, it's kind of made me want to now I want to go up to Chicago. I want to go to New York City. So then I also want to see like Wrigley, and I want to see Yankee Stadium, all these like different like destinations, like these U.S. hubs that everyone talks about. And now that I've kind of gone halfway there up in Cincy, I kind of want to just hit a lot of these milestone cities and kind of just basically just be a tourist for like a weekend and whatever, and just kind of do that kind of thing, travel a little more now that I actually make a little bit of money. Emphasis on a little, not too much, but just enough for maybe like a Friday, Saturday. But yeah, I think just traveling, basically just kind of seeing more of the country. I've been very East Coast, Georgia specific for most of my life, so that's probably a big one.
That's a good one, especially some of that, like you said, the baseball park up at Wrigley. That is one of the best in the country, hands down.
Yeah.
I love every single time I've been there. It's just so much fun, and the hanging out before the game. It's
Right.
just so much fun outside of that place.
Wrigleyville's cool. Yeah.
It is, and right down there, there's the old blues bars that are all around there playing just fantastic blues. What do you think, Chloe? What's your bucket list items? I mean, what do you think? What do you want? What are the things you wanted to go do besides go live in Amsterdam?
I say mine's still travel. So domestically, I want to see every single national park. But
Wow.
yeah, I think that would be really cool.
Better buy the RV.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. How many?
I've already seen like 3 or 4, maybe like 2 or 3. But anyways, and then internationally, I want to touch like every single continent.
You're gonna do Antarctica too.
They have the Antarctica cruise. It takes off from Argentina.
Yeah.
So boom,
yeah.
I can see Argentina and then take my Antarctica cruise.
Yeah. Good luck
and
with
go
that.
see the penguins.
And it's got a 50% chance of actually making it to Antarctica, and 50% that it turns around.
Still would have gotten close. better to try. But no, I want to see like Australia, Chile, like South America too. I really want to go to South America.
Yeah.
I think for Africa, I'd only see like Morocco or South Africa. I've heard Cape Town's really cool by my South African friends. Especially since I'm like international business, so I have all these like friends that are going to be abroad, so I feel like I can very easily get around.
Nice.
You could go couch sleep at their places.
I'm hoping I'm making a little bit more money than that.
I have a friend of mine. He did that for 3 months in Europe. He had friends. He just slept. Actually, it was some kind of website. He'd go register and go sleep on the couch for like a day, a night. Yeah, exactly. And Europe was going on like, ew. So then after he got back, he thought he would be the same person and sign up to be a place he had people sleeping on his couch. Till he had a guy that stayed for 2 weeks. So he goes, yeah.
I had a guy came staying on my couch for more than 2 weeks.
I wonder who that could be.
And I had his dog shaved bald. Moving on to the next topic before I bury myself in another hole. So this year, the college football playoff, over the course of so many years, the people that led up NCAA always would just fight, just getting to the 2 teams playing in a national championship game. And then we busted out the 4, and you would have thought all was breaking loose. And finally, we get the TV networks involved and start flashing cash in their faces, and we get the 12-team playoff. And everybody thought college football was going to end. This was going to be horrible. The season was going to be terrible. So what say you, Casey? What do you think of the college football playoff this year and how the season has been shaping up?
I mean, I was skeptical going in, although less than most. I think everyone thought the sky was falling when we were expanding, as if every sport in the world doesn't do an expanded playoff. And this is the craziest thing of all time. March Madness is everyone's favorite thing. It's 64 teams. I'm sorry, but 12 teams will be fine. But honestly, I think this is the most parity I've ever seen in a single season in my lifetime, truthfully. I mean, Oregon's undefeated, but I mean, they're not dominant. And then you have 3 or 4 like 1-loss teams, and then like the amount of 2-loss teams that are going to get in, or even maybe a 3-loss team like a South Carolina is insane that they might get in. I don't know. It just the amount of excitement that is coming down to these like last like championship weeks and the rivalry games that wouldn't have really mattered leading up. Like Vandy could knock out Tennessee, which is so cool. It's like that game like means something now, which I don't know. Yeah. I'm all for it. I think it's been awesome.
What do you think there, Chloe?
I second that. I didn't like the 4-team playoff was a little boring. It was the same teams, so it's cool seeing like the variety, and we're also looking at like many more teams and their records than like the top 4 or 6. Yeah. So I like seeing like, looking at Arizona State, like looking at South Carolina. I promise you, no one usually looks our way. So it's a little interesting to be in a slight conversation or just like the smaller teams past the Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, and the extra team. So then I feel like it gives everyone a chance, like a fair chance to get into the national championship.
I feel like a Penn State goes from being like a disappointment to like, oh, now they're like a top 6 to 8 team every single year, and they're going to be in the playoff every year. Because every year it was just, oh, they can't make it, they're not good.
Yeah.
And now that I think the NIL, people are going to go to more of these smaller schools because they'll have a chance to make it into a 12. Even like Colorado, like has 3 losses, but like they might win a Big 12 championship and make the playoff, which never would have happened. I don't know. Yeah. That's just my opinion. But
what do you think, Panda?
I think the coming together at the same time of NIL and the expansion has made the parity better. So like, let's just be honest, there was a lot of under the table payments that occurred, up to the last 5 years ago. Now NIL, I don't like it, but everybody's doing it and it's above the table and it's spread the money out. And now you got Michigan paying $12 million for a quarterback, and that's just one example. Everybody's got an example for every school that's doing something like that. And so the town is getting dispersed. And so the timing of that dispersal of talent and opening up the playoffs to more teams has just made it so much more interesting. This is, Stevie, you and I think aligned on this. This has been the most exciting season in the last 10 or 20 years. Probably going back to 2014, which was first year of the playoffs, and that was just because there was so much craziness going on at the end of that particular season. But then it got to Chloe's point, it was the same 7 teams that were in the 4. You can name them all off, and there was like almost nobody else. Now you can have BYU or Boise State or South Carolina could squeeze in, or Colorado could squeeze in if they win their conference championship. So it's way more March Madness like, and I think that's a good thing for the sport.
Absolutely. Think about how many eyeballs now in the month of November that were never watching a Vanderbilt, Tennessee, that now are going, Vanderbilt, you've got a chance. My guy, want to watch it.
Come on.
South Carolina, you beat Clemson and you got a shot. They're going to be glued to that game. And in the past, you go, who cares? They're never going to make the 4-team playoff or the 2 teams. And now it's exciting. I'm watching more than my favorite team, and I'm rooting for other teams. I was a diehard Indiana fan this year. After I'm watching it, I went to the Indiana game. This is just cool. These fans don't even know what to do with themselves. They don't know what win. Maybe they hadn't won 10 games in a season ever in their entire lifetime as a program. And what for all those kinds of Vanderbilt has hope. And there's teams now that you've got some. Now I think we have to do. I think the one change I think that needs to come up next is, I think with other Big 5 or whatever they call it, what's it called, the other teams that don't make up the Power 4. I think there needs to be the NIT of the college football, where you get the group of 5 teams or whatever those groups are, and you have a different playoff. You have the NIT of college football of either 8 games where they have a chance to actually play for something. Right now, there's only one out of all those other 64 teams or 68 teams. Let them have a little chance to go play around the football, other than some crappy bowl that's sitting in the Monroe, Louisiana. Someplace.
Yeah, it's the bowls that really stopped all this from happening for all the last 20 years. And now people are like, oh, the bowls are kind of holding us back. And now the bowls,
nobody goes to them.
Nobody goes to them. The players opt out of them if it doesn't mean anything. And so the bowls are almost secondary now. And I feel bad for like Fiesta Bowl and Rose Bowl and all that. I mean, they were great, events for those communities, whatnot, but I think it's just way better for the sport overall. And I kind of like that NIT idea, and you can weave the bowls into that if you need to.
Right, weave the bowls into it, and you've got a chance to make some money. It's certainly this TV would be jumping on board. You're going to get some viewership out of that. I'm going to watch Ohio University play Youngstown or some other Division I team. All right, good conversation. All right, the reason we are here. This is the version of the Newlywed Game. As we call it, You Don't Know Dad. So, Panda, give us the rules.
Yeah. So I think it was episode 13. I went and checked. We did the first version of You Don't Know Dad. And for those uh, who aren't really familiar with the Newlywed Game, it was a very hysterical game game show in the 70s, I think. It may have extended into the 80s. We were watching reruns, I think, by the time I was got old enough to watch TV. But it was five newlywed couples. They would bring in both couples. They talk a while, then they send like the wives off to a safe room, and then they would ask the husband a series of questions. They would bring the wives back in, and they answer the questions. If they got it correct, then they got a points, and then they send the husbands off, and they do the same thing, different questions with the wives. They bring the husbands back, they answer the questions, and then whoever got the most, won a freaking motorhome, something, I don't know, some kind of prize. But the funny thing about the Newlywed Game is that, and we're not going there here so much, but it was very raunchy, and they were asked they got a lot of strange answers. Um, so it was just very popular. Anyway, so when Steve and I were like brainstorming on, hey, we want to get the kids involved, it was like, hey, let's take the Newlywed Game, and let's call it You Don't Know Dad, and we're gonna ask our kids questions, and we're gonna kind of tabulate the score. And we did it last time with Jack and Stone, and I think it was a tie. We had a tie, and I actually answered more than I expected. So we got 10 questions, and we'll go through and we'll do we do them? I guess we'll do the same question for both of you as we'll go down, and we'll just, or do we do one at a time? Do we do Chloe
One
first
at a
and then?
time. Yeah,
Okay,
one at a
all right,
time, and
all
then we
right.
give our and then we give our answers.
Okay, so we'll go through Chloe and or whoever's going to go first, and if it's Chloe, then your dad will ask these 10 questions, and then we'll see how you do, and then I'll go through and ask questions.
Oh no, we'll
Casey.
split them up at the same time. We'll answer them both at the same time.
Oh,
we'll take their answers. Let's just take their answers down first. We'll both ask the questions, and then we'll give the answers back at the end. How's that?
Okay, sure.
Go ahead. You kick off the first question to both of them. Start off with.
Okay. Question number 1. What is your dad's second favorite sports team? Because we all know what our favorite sports team is, the two of us. But what is your dad's second favorite sports team? Casey, what is my second favorite sports team?
I'm assuming this goes for professional and college.
It can be professional, and it's got to be a particular team. It can't be Major League Baseball or NFL football. It's got to be like Pittsburgh Pirates or Dodgers. It's got to be a team. Could be college team. Could be, yeah.
See, I have there's 4 that all kind of mesh together. It's a little bit of an unfair question, but I'll answer. I'm gonna go with the Reds.
All right, Chloe, who do you have?
I'm between 2, but I'm going to go with Ohio University.
Now you have to pick sport. You have to pick a sport.
Oh, Ohio University football.
There you go.
There you go. That's exactly right. Okay, question number 2. Both the Panda and I started off with a major, but neither one of us finished this major. What was your dad's first major? Chloe?
Oh, I know this. Electrical engineering. He almost got there, but didn't want to finish out his classes because he's about to fail.
Casey?
I want to say it was accounting.
All right. Go ahead, Panda.
Yeah. Okay. Casey, what is your dad's favorite restaurant? And Steve, in order to make this a little more realistic, I'm going to say in the Atlanta area.
I gave this is my 2 questions.
Okay. So we'll call it in the Atlanta area, Casey, to kind of narrow it down a little bit. There's almost no chance you're going to get this. So
yeah, because we only eat out all the time.
I know. So, there's no way you're going to get this. But.
So do I actually have a shot, or is it just gonna?
Well, I mean, you know the place, obviously.
Okay.
You could say it. Yeah.
Okay. Chewy's.
All right. What do you say there, Chloe?
Oh my goodness. There's so many restaurants you guys go to that I don't know the name of because I hate sushi. I'm just gonna have to go with something random. Like, I'll just go with Ichiban. It's either a steak place or that sushi place you guys always go to, but I can't remember the name of either of them.
All right. Question number 4. I gotta get a clarification, Panda. First job after college?
Yeah,
Is that what we're going with?
after you graduated college.
Okay. In what city was your dad's first job located after college? Chloe?
I would say Atlanta.
Casey?
That would this be post Texas or just post
No, post Vanderbilt.
post Vanderbilt? Cincinnati.
Go ahead,
All
Panda.
right. Question number 5. Casey, what is your dad's favorite holiday?
I'll go Christmas.
Chloe, what is your dad's
I think
favorite?
Christmas too.
Chloe, name an item on your dad's bucket list.
Oh, probably seeing China. I think it's a pretty good one.
Casey?
I feel like this would have been one. I guess it technically can't happen anymore. But seeing Rush in concert.
Go ahead, Panda.
All right. Casey, did your dad kiss your mom on their first date?
I'm gonna say no.
Chloe, did your
Chloe.
dad kiss
I'm
your
also
mom?
gonna say no.
All right. Question number 8. Would your dad rather eat a cheeseburger, chicken dish, or seafood?
I think chicken dish.
Casey?
Cheeseburger. No hesitation.
Okay. Number 9. Casey, who would your dad say is the better rock band? AC/DC, Pink Floyd, Hootie and the Blowfish, or Coldplay?
I'm gonna go AC/DC.
Chloe, same question to you.
I also think AC/DC.
Okay. Final question.
All right. Last question. What team does your dad just can't stand? This is a multiple choice. New York Yankees, Dallas Cowboys, the LA Lakers, the LA Dodgers, or Alabama?
Oh goodness. I would say the New York Yankees.
Casey?
I'm gonna go with the Dodgers.
All right. I think we're going to have a close one. I
Gonna be
think
pretty
there's going to be
close.
some. I think there's going to be some close ones. There's some good answers in here.
Yeah, this is good.
All right, go ahead, Panda. You can say question 1, and I'll say what I had on question 1.
So the first question was your dad's second favorite sports team, and Casey said the Reds, and the answer was the Reds. Okay.
Oh, and Chloe missed it. She was darn
Was
close.
it the Braves?
Yes, it's the Atlanta Braves.
That was my backup.
OU football is definitely number 3, but it's number 2. You were so close, but definitely it's the Atlanta Braves. So Casey has won. There we go, in the lead. Question number 2. What were your dad's first majors? Chloe said electrical engineering, which was ding, ding, ding. But it wasn't because I was failing out. It's because I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it. There was a correction in there. Ugh, it was awful.
And my first major was not accounting, it was computer science.
I feel like I knew that too. Oh.
Question number 3. Wait a minute. Did I start off last time? Go ahead, Panda.
Oh, yeah. What is your dad's favorite restaurant? And I can't believe Casey got this. Chili's. Wow.
Nice.
God.
We would drive an hour for it. So.
We do drive down to the perimeter just to go eat there.
Well, Chloe was dancing around. Ichiban is certainly in the top of the list. I love that place, but it's not my top one. I did have two here, but Ichiban wasn't one of them. It was Genki and Roomies. Genki and Roomies.
I thought about Roomies. I forgot Genki existed. I was also thinking, like, my head went to Rusan's, which isn't open anymore. It also went to, like, the Chops. There we go. Chops was the other one, or wherever you and Mom biked to. Right where Bobby G's was.
Oh, well, yeah, Rice and Spice. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rice and Spice. Yummy. All right, next question. In what city was your dad's first job located after college? And Chloe came up with Atlanta. My first job was in Lancaster, but the first real job was Columbus. Either one of those were going to be a decent answer, but not Atlanta.
Yep. And my first job was located not in Cincinnati, but in Washington, D.C. or Arlington, Virginia. I would have accepted that as well.
Wow.
Really? I had no idea you ever lived there.
My first job was working for a presidential campaign, if you can believe that. A Republican presidential campaign.
Not in a million years would I have guessed that.
Okay, well, Dad, what was your first job?
I landed with UPS, but it didn't start until the Christmas season. And so
I thought that was during college.
It was, but that's how I got the job I was in their engineering department in Columbus, but I had to wait 3 months before I started the job. So I was working in a factory in Lancaster, Ohio, filling up cans of oil on a production line. And they offered me a job to go be a supervisor of this whole place. And I went, "You're out of your mind. They can't be doing this." "Well, you do so good." We just, "No way. I'll go deliver packages."
All right.
All right.
Number
Where are we at?
5. What's your dad's favorite holiday? Casey said Christmas, and the answer is Christmas. Yes, that is my favorite.
Christmas. Yep.
Yeah,
Go
yours
ahead.
too. Yeah, I like Christmas. Just the families get together. You get like a couple weeks off from work where it's not so. What?
Coming down the stairs.
Yeah.
Just 20 years worth of flip camera videos.
Yes. That was a requirement. Yes, it was back then. That's fun.
Yeah. I'm with you. Mine's also all of that too, but also, we may have had a couple lights hanging outside, and so the couple lights and the people coming through the whole neighborhood was part of the deal. But an acceptable answer would have also been 4th of July and trying to blow up my hands off in the backyard. Is a very, very acceptable answer, and we also had a lot of Hilton Heads together for that holiday, so that was an acceptable answer.
Yeah.
All right. Name an item on your dad's bucket list. Casey, where were you?
Rush concert.
Yeah, that had long been checked off my bucket list, so that I would say, is not the correct answer for this, since I already did it, but it clearly was. I went to 6 Rush concerts, so I definitely checked it off many times.
Check.
Yes.
China definitely is in my bucket list. That is one of the, probably number 3 on that list. We go to, I really want to get over to Thailand. And once we jump to Thailand, I want to jump up to one of the big cities up there in China. Dying to go there. All right.
Question 7. Did your dad kiss your mom on the first date? Casey said no. The answer was yes.
Same thing here.
Come on, Mom.
The first date, yes. The first time we actually met, no. So
I would hope not. It was in the office.
Yeah. Yes. No, it wasn't. It was not in the. No, it was at Callaway Gardens. After it was on my birthday. We stayed up till 6 o'clock in the morning, and I had to be on the stage at 7 o'clock. Literally a half an hour sleep.
Nice.
But that was not a date. We didn't. No. All right. Next up. Would your dad rather eat a cheeseburger, chicken dish, or seafood? Chloe, you said chicken dish. And
Seafood?
seafood,
Oh,
definitely seafood.
I was thinking like an Indian like chicken dish or like
Yeah.
Okay.
Casey.
This was the easiest one for Casey. You got
Burger.
cheeseburger. Have you looked at my body lately? You should know the answer to that.
If you've eaten with the Young family, you knew that wasn't a tough answer.
Right.
All right. Number 9. Who would your dad say is the better rock band? Casey said AC/DC, and that is what I chose. AC/DC. Although quite a good list here, and I love
Very
them
good
all,
list.
but AC/DC is just special for me.
Bingo. Same here. Got that one. That's one of my favorite concerts of all time. Been to 3 of those AC/DC concerts. What a blast. Love those things. Man, they are fun. All right. Go ahead. Is this you?
Yours. Post up.
Which team does your dad just not like the most? So, Casey, you said the Dodgers. Panda?
Dodgers are literally almost neck and neck, but my answer was the Yankees. I just innately do not like the Yankees.
Was it?
You
Because wasn't the Dodgers
The
and the Reds?
Dodgers, when I grew up, it was the National League West, and that was the Reds and Dodgers. They were arch enemies, but the Yankees were always over in the American League and just spending money and stealing our players. And I just grew up hating the Yankees.
So what happens currently still?
Yeah, it's always been happening, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Chloe got it right. That definitely is the Yankees. And guess what? We have exactly the same score as the last time.
No.
Exactly the same tie of 5-5. So the Wheelers and the young kids have get 50% each
That's
time.
not bad. That's not bad at all.
Grading on a curve scale, I think that's really close to an A-.
There you go. OU grading scale.
The OU grading scale. That's how I passed electrical engineering. Thank you. Come on. All right, a little fun. This has been, like we've talked about before, this has been one fun year of college football. And we've had some great college games this year. Panda, give a couple. What's your favorite 2? You can kick this off because I think your 2 are going to be coming out of the top 2. What are your top 2?
So, this is an all-time game for me. Obviously, the last time Vanderbilt beat Alabama was 1984. I was playing baseball at Vanderbilt, listening on a little radio. 40 years later, we finally beat them again. So that for me was the game of the year as a Vandy fan. I put the Ohio State Oregon game as my number 2, and then that Auburn A&M game was amazing. So those are the there's been about 10 great games. Don't get me wrong, but those are the kind of the 3 that bubble to the top for me.
Nice. I didn't have that one on my list. I think that was a fantastic game. Casey, what are your top 2, 3, 4? What are your ones you stand out this year?
Honestly, there's one for me, and it's Georgia, Alabama. That was one of the craziest games I think I've ever watched. I mean, just like the 3-minute swing of those 2 teams, like I thought the game was over. I'm honestly shocked I kept the game on at all because it was like a 21-point game in the 4th. And then it goes back and forth, and then the Ryan Williams spin catch, and then just that whole thing. I stayed up to watch the whole thing, and yeah, I just couldn't believe it. And then at that point, I thought, Bama might be the real deal.
Yeah.
Sorry, Barb. Out the window. Sorry. Great game, though.
Any others?
Honestly, that one I can't even. That is like
that was a fantastic game. I mean, fantastic game. Fantastic. Yeah. Chloe, what do you say?
I have a couple. I mean, the UGA Bama one was good. The South Carolina Oklahoma one was just good for us. I liked watching that one, gaining confidence. The other South Carolina one was the one against Mizzou. Just like we won in the last 15 seconds after blowing a lead. But anyways, it was like being there, it was the loudest touchdown we've ever had. And then it registered on the seismograph, for the earthquake. So that was pretty insane. And then anytime, I don't like Florida, but I've seen Florida beat some teams, and I really like to see that, or whenever Georgia goes down. That's what I consider a good game.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
I'm gonna go pick out one that I don't think nobody would ever have on their list, but I caught it on I think it was on a Thursday night. Just flicking through and caught it, and it was a local game. I think it was being played over here in Kennesaw. It was Kennesaw State against Liberty. Liberty was undefeated. I think they were 8-0, and Kennesaw State was 0-8. I'm pretty sure those were the records going up at them, and they upset them. And that was one of, just those players, taken down a team that legitimately had a chance to get to the college football playoffs. But with a loss like that, there's not a person in that committee that would put them there. I just absolutely love that game with those kids running out there and celebrating, getting that win for the season and beating the top dog.
I have another one to add to the list. The NIU and Notre Dame game was another amazing one to see. And then the Georgia Tech Miami is another
Georgia Tech Miami.
Both great games.
I'd even throw the Georgia Tech Florida State when we didn't know Florida State was such a dog.
Yeah.
Wow.
Over in Europe. Was that Scotland, Ireland? It was one of those places.
It was Ireland. Yeah.
Ireland. Man, that was a good opening to the whole season. You couldn't believe that. Our August, and now we're sitting here in the final weeks countdown, getting ready for this big screaming playoff. The last one in here I think I had in was I got to throw in LSU versus South Carolina. Carolina was on the bottom of that one, but that was one of the best games. I mean, just fantastic. And a team getting really screwed because of bad officiating. I think they came to those referees and said, if you guys stop a game like that one more time, you are out of here. They stopped the game for 5 and 10 minutes to get together on an offsides call. It was horrible. You just were going, what? You guys are so bad. Leave. And they were the same team that was in the Alabama last year. It was so poorly called. And they were in the same ones like 2 years before that. With it. You go, can you guys fire these guys? Come on. I think this probably, as we go along in this, and it is paid athletes out there now, they got to start looking at the referees and figure out, all right, we got to start paying. They don't make, they make like $30,000 a year. It's not a lot of money. Plus travel expenses. And what a thankless job. Can you imagine? There's never a time where you said, hey, you did a great job refereeing that game. Right. The only time it is if they don't throw a penalty. And that's the only time that you say, oh, that was a great called game, unless you were the one thinking you're getting more penalties. All right. So what two teams do you think are left? Casey, what two do you think are left? Who's last standing in the national championship?
It really is tough. It's also weird to think that Ohio State and Oregon legitimately might play 3 times in one season. I mean, obviously, I think we're all pretty biased, but Ohio State at the moment, I think, looks the most complete. The way Will Howard is playing, giving it to our weapons, our defense looks as good as I've seen it in a few years. And then kind of a wash from there. I think Georgia's still scary. Just when Carson Beck plays his best, I mean, he is kind of that number 1 overall type guy. He's just, going to turn the ball over a few times. So I would say those are probably my top 2 at the moment. I think Oregon's due from regression in the near future. I hope so, in a couple weeks at least.
What do you think, Chloe?
I think the beauty of this year is it's hard to tell. There's like not many that jump out at me. I think it'll be either Oregon, Ohio State as like one of the spots, and then SEC team in the other. I don't want to say Georgia because I don't want to see Georgia, but I also don't think it's going to be Texas. So then that leaves like Tennessee or Bama, depending on what goes where. So I just think it's like pretty hard to tell this year. The only thing I can confidently say is probably Oregon or Ohio State in one of the spots.
What do you think, Panda?
Yeah, I think Chloe nailed it for me. I can't pick the 2. But I would say the same thing. Oregon or Ohio State will be one of the teams, I believe. I think though, if they play, they'll probably end up playing before the national championship game, so they won't actually be in the championship game. So it could be any of the SEC teams or some crazy team comes in and gets hot down the stretch. So I really don't know who that would be. So I'll just stick with Chloe's Oregon or Ohio State in one versus TBD in the other.
I'm going to say my other TBD. Agree. Obviously, Oregon, Ohio State. That seemed like the. I'm going to throw the other two. I only think of one. To me, I think Notre Dame has a little bit of surprise to them.
For sure.
Northern Illinois was just a freak of nature. Whatever.
Yeah.
They called a horrible game. You get some of the best rushing in the whole, and they couldn't rush the ball for some reason. And it was because they were trying to go up the middle, and Northern Illinois had two fat guys on the line that could stop it. I think they may be in if they can be well coached throughout that run. I think that's one to watch out for, in my opinion. All right, we get to the segment that we love, and that's life's little pleasures. Mr. Panda, tell us your life's little pleasure.
Yeah, it hit me. I was driving back on Sunday from Hilton Head, come home, and it was just me. Had to go do something when I was up there, and so I had like 5 hours of called windshield time, where there's nobody but yourself. And for me, a life's little simple pleasure is literally just having 5 hours to think about things that are important that I'm in the middle of, trying to figure out what I want to do next year. And so to have like 5 hours and, think about things and make some decisions, to me, that is just a life's little simple pleasure. So just having uninterrupted time to think, and when you're driving, for me, is a little pleasure. When Jill's in the car, she'll end up sleeping or reading or whatever. She knows I like to just think, so it's just something that I take advantage of quite regularly, and I really enjoy it.
That is a good thing in driving. That's something, so many folks go, I can't stand driving. You go, that is a great time to sit back, reflect.
Mhm.
I mean, there is a time period to go, all right, 8 hours, I'm done. But 5 hours, in that 3 to 5 hours, it's a great little, and for the most part, your phone's not working and you're paying attention to the road, but you have time to think about things, just because, there's a lot of quiet and downtime in there. Chloe, what do you think? What's life's little pleasure for you?
I've got three that come to mind. First one is the Photos app on your phone, when it's like, I've made a photo album for this specific person, and you get
Yes.
to like look through it. So it'll be like
Yes.
Georgia, the dog, or like, look, you got some photos of dad, and you just like kind of tap through them with a little song. I think that's really cute because I have like the photos widget on like the front home screen.
Yeah.
The second one is whenever I make a drive from Columbia to Atlanta, vice versa, I pick up a pack of Reese's from the store, and I have one for every hour I drive. And it's 4 hours, so I have one every hour, perfect for my 4-pack of Reese's.
Hey, tell me if you're doing that at 59. Let's see.
It's really great in the summer when they're melted, when I'm trying to get it out, and it's just like melted in this heat. And then the third one is Sundays. I hate figuring out lunch, so I just every single Sunday go to our local sub shop and hopefully I get to see, it's called Beezer's, and Mr. Beezer works there. He owns the shop, and hopefully I get to see him. But a little punch card, you get your punch card for your free sandwich, get the good sweet tea, good sandwich. So I think that's another one I look forward to.
Nice.
Nice.
Casey, what do you say? What's your life's little pleasure?
All right, I have two. First one is coming home for lunch when I work in the office and having Clover wake up from her beauty nap and just stare at me with her tail wagging, because she has, whether it's a good or a bad day, she's looking at me like, are you taking me out or are you feeding me? She is the happiest little thing in the world. Clover, come here.
Get Clover up here.
Jump out of the Minecraft game.
Yeah.
Clover.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's what we need for the mascot of Red Wheels Panda.
There you go.
A little Clover.
She's been at my feet this whole hour, so at some point I was going to bring her out. And then the second one, which is something I adopted from my parents, is a little Mexican Friday after a long week in the office. You just need some chips and queso, maybe an overpriced margarita, and a burrito of some sort, and it cures all of world's problems. And that's all it is.
Very therapeutic.
That's a good one. I really like that.
I like
that. That's a real good. You guys have some really good ones. I gotta go with lame.com on this one, but it is one for me, and it's this time of the year, and it's Thanksgiving, and over the course of our lives, Pan and I have gone back to the motherland and been back to Lancaster, Ohio, and been back with family and visiting, and we did that a lot of times until we grew our own family, and then it changed, and everything came to us when it came to Thanksgiving. And so, life's little pleasure for me is that this holiday, I'm doing three Thanksgivings. I'm gonna have one where I had to have it with my brother and his fiance wife and my parents, and then we're gonna do the regular one on Thursday with my parents, and then I'm coming home to do it with my family on Friday with our family, and so it's three of them. But it's life's little pleasure. It is one of those. We never make Thanksgiving one of the top holidays. We love the food and the get together, but it is life's little pleasure because we get together. It is a lot of talking, and I think fortunately for all of our families, there's not much in the way of bad discussion. I think it's all good discussion. We don't have that craziness that goes along with this holiday, and we're all fortunate for that to have that. And I think that's my life's little pleasure. This one is a long weekend of get together.
Love it.
All right. We're into the closing. We have one of the big things, and that one is Stump, Wheels, Casey, and Chloe. So, Panda, what is the movie quote that you're going to stump us with?
Okay. So normally this is the 80s, and it's a movie quote generally. And Steve has an abysmal record. So since we have Chloe and Casey on, I pulled forward into the 2000s and picked a movie that I believe that you would all have seen probably multiple times. Chloe, you said you don't watch a lot of movies, so now maybe you haven't, but you should have if you hadn't. So here you go. It's pretty brief. So I'm going to try to express it in the way that it was delivered in the movie because it might help. All right, here we go. The quote. That wasn't flying, that was falling with style.
Oh my God, no. I have to know this.
You have to know this.
Is this something like Dumbo?
So, no.
Okay.
It is I will tell you, it is a cartoon movie style.
Okay.
So, I'll give you that hint.
Oh. Are we like holding or like I don't
know.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, you got it.
Toy Story.
It's Toy Story. It's the scene where Buzz Lightyear comes out into the room and he thinks he's a real starman, right? And so he gets on the track and he does this thing and he goes around the room. He gets put up in the air on the ceiling fan. He goes around in a circle and then he lands and does a flip and lands and goes, "See, I'm a real whatever." And Woody goes, "That wasn't flying. That was falling with style."
I thought it was going to be a Tom Cruise movie. Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
You actually kind of nailed the inflection on that. Like that's kind of what helped me actually. That was money.
I would have never in my lifetime got that. Nice call.
I wouldn't have gotten it, but I've seen Toy Story.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I've seen it. I don't remember any of the lines in that one. So as we were saying that and laughing, I was kind of listening in the background. I hear my roommates over here in the other room, and I hear our theme playing in the background going, what the heck? They're watching our podcast.
Oh, they are?
I mean, beep, beep. And I'm going, what the heck is that? We're not playing that. What? I go, oh.
Well, we got to get this one published before the holiday then.
Before the holiday, yes.
Yeah.
We will definitely have this as a wrap up. Well, welcome, Casey. Welcome, Chloe. You guys did a fantastic job. Thank you for being guests on the great Mixtapes Mopeds podcast. Panda, any last words?
Yeah, thank you both. You guys were amazing. That was a lot of fun. We'll do it again sometime.
Thanks for having
Fantastic.
us.
Thanks for having us.
Safe travels to everybody.
Safe travels to our followers. Please like, love us, pass it on to your friends, and we will see you soon. And happy holidays for everybody.
Ciao.